This is Nadir Shah in Chicago, and you're watching my channel, Knowledge for Quality of Life. Friends, I welcome to those who have recently joined the channel and to the community of learners group, which I call as a family of learners. And whatever I have been, observing within my life, whatever I've been learning, I'm sharing through this platform. Recently, I came across an article, and the subject was that the life expectancy is increasing not only in the United States but worldwide. So a question came to my mind that what about the health span? When the life expectancy is increasing, so what can we say about the health span, which we can see and testify around by observing around us, whichever part of the world we are living in. And you can see in your surroundings, how people are living, because I see all the time, we are filling more and more assisted living centers and more nursing homes with fragile elderly and all that. So to my understanding, health span is not increasing, but I wanted to put things in perspective to give some data, some numbers, because we are living in a data-driven society, so data speaks. So, and then another question came to my mind that is health span something comes with the luck, or is it by fortuity? Or you have to earn it. We all have to work towards it to earn a good health span. So I wanted to share some thoughts on this topic today, because it's not something that you are going to learn something new, but it may be some eye opener for someone. But this concept of lifespan versus health span, I want to illustrate in the context of bigger picture that what are we seeing and what are the main drivers in these two phenomena, lifespan and health span, and what we are trying to achieve, at least what I've been trying to achieve over the last 9 years as far as my health and my family's health is concerned. So let me share my screen with you. So what you see here, some data, global lifespan, total years lived. That's the life expectancy that, from the time of birth till we die, that's the lifespan, okay? And that's the life expectancy we are talking about. Has increased to 73 years approximately, but the health span, years lived in good health, is lower at 64. So the gap is around 9 years. And this gap is increasing over the time, and as of now, as of 2025 data, the number of years of this gap within the United States is the highest in the world, 12.4 years. Key drivers for health include lifestyle, diet, exercise, environmental factors, social connections, and access to healthcare. Chronic diseases such as heart disease and diabetes drive the majority of the deaths and reduce health span. Now, global lifespan versus health span. So lifespan, as we said, that number of years lived, in person's life, total number of years you live, and health span is the number of years a person lives in good health, okay? Free from all the chronic diseases and disability, okay? So to put things in perspective, that if you take the life expectancy and you take the health span, so health span is actually the number of years the person lives in a healthy life, right? So if I say that United States has a gap of 12.4 years, it means that in the United States, 12.4 years persons living in poor health condition, right? Because that time frame, is on a medicine support system, medical support system. There's a system which keeps the persons live longer and longer, And that's the strive which we are seeing around us over the time. The gap globally, the average gap between lifespan and health span is about 9.6 years. This is a global, worldwide, but in the United States, this gap is about 12.4 years. With individuals often spending the last decade of their life in poor health. Regional differences. The US has the largest, as I said, gap among developed nations with roughly 12.4 years of disability or illness. Okay. Trends, while life expectancy increased to 73.1 years by 2019, it was slightly reduced due to COVID-19 pandemic. That COVID-19 pandemic brought the life expectancy just before the COVID hit of 73.1 years to 2012 earlier highs. Okay, and then it starts creeping up. Okay. Alongside 9% increase in healthy life expectancy to 63.5 years. So now we are back to, in the increasing manner over the last few years. But again, the gap is increasing as well. Main drivers of health span factors, lifestyle behaviors, approximately 60% of the impact. Okay. What are these? Regular physical activity, which we talked about, exercise, a balanced diet, low in processed foods, high in nutrients. Okay. Low in processed food, balanced diet, we have to eat wholesome food, which is low in ultra processed and processed food items. Okay. But they are dense in nutrients, minerals and vitamins. Sufficient sleep, and I have touched each and every area in the past in variety of vlogs. Okay. And stress management are critical to preventing chronic illness. Chronic disease prevention, 7 of the top 10 causes of death worldwide are chronic, making prevention key to expanding health span. Okay. Environmental and social factors. Now, living in a safe, low pollution environment combined with strong social support networks significantly influences longevity and health. Of course, to some extent, we control social factors, but environmental factors, if we are living in some underdeveloped countries, we don't have much choice. We have to live by, because, we have certain limitations as far as the environment is concerned. But again, social factors, which we can control to the best of our ability, keeping these social networks and, connections with humanly connections and, connections between ourselves and our fellow beings. Okay. Healthcare access and quality. Again, this thing is a region specific. Access to preventative healthcare, preventative care, screening and treatment of managing diseases reduces morbidity. Now, in some underdeveloped countries or developing nations, you don't have that kind of a healthcare access readily available. Okay. And if it is, then quality is not there. Okay. So there are multiple factors, which we can't control. And there are certain factors which we can control. And I have always believed in that the parameters or the variables which we can control, we should focus on more, because we have limitations in the areas where we can't control things. Okay. Genetics and epigenetics. This is a big one, because while genetics play a role, approximately 40%, like, some diseases are prone to genetic, pass. My parents had it, grandparents had it, of course I'm going to have it. All right. That's the belief. But again, epigenetic factors, such as the factors which we can tweak, we can control, changing the genetic predisposition. Okay. That's in our hand. So epigenetic factors, we are controlling those factors. Now, those are lifestyle choices, can influence how genes are expressed. You remember that, I said when I did one of the vlog that, vitamin D is a gene expression modulator. Gene expression modulator. It controls the gene turning on and off mechanism. Okay. So that's one style, one lifestyle parameter which we control. So there are choices, which we can influence how genes are expressed. potentially overriding the genetic predispositions to disease. So as I said that, if you have some predisposition disease in the family, learn how to mitigate those, the risk factors of predisposition, because if my parents had low vitamin D and deficiency wise, they are exposed to those genetic factors. Now, if I control my vitamin D and control my turning on and off switches for those genes, I can mitigate those risks. Okay, and those are the factors they are talking about here, epigenetics, that we control. Okay, factors affecting the gap. Women versus men. Women globally have 2.4-year wider gap between lifespan and health span than men. Of course, we know that it's a statistically proven that females live a little bit longer than the male. Of course, so the gap is going to be more of this lifespan minus the health span in women. So women tends to live with the diseases and disability longer than the men. Okay, because they have longer life expectancy, and the health span is the gap is wider also. So by how much? 2.4 years wider gap. Key health issues: substance use, mental health. Of course, mental health is a big one, and they are mostly attributed to substance use and depression and loneliness and all that. But remember that D is one of the prime premise for mental health as well, as I said in the previous vlogs. Okay, musculoskeletal condition, and for women, especially neurological and genital tract disorders contribute to significantly reduced health span. So there are multiple issues related to this wider gap between the lifespan and health span. So let me stop share here. So what are we trying to say here, putting things in perspective? That of course we don't control. Remember that as I said always, we don't have any control whatsoever on the lifespan. Okay, the day we are born and the day we are gonna die, we don't control those two endpoints. Okay, in between those 2 points, to some extent, we have a control based on the choices and life choices, the lifestyle choices, any choices that we make, because the choices I make today is going to impact 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line. Okay, and human intellect, which is given by God Almighty. Okay, that's the prime thing which differentiates us, humans, from animals. It tells us that make our choices accordingly. Okay, because I know it's difficult, it's not easy, particularly when it comes to lifestyle choices, particularly when it comes to diet. Okay, because I see around myself all the time, because it's very tempting to control your emotions, when it comes to food. Okay, but it's easier, it's a slippery path, when it's easy to get ultra processed food or processed food, because it's tempting, because it's addictive. Okay, but it's going to take you down the hill in the long run, because the effect is so detrimental, but it's slow and steadily giving you this kind of a feeling. By the time it comes to you with vengeance, it's sometimes too late, because that chronic condition is embedded in ourselves, and it's sometimes it's very hard to reverse things. Okay, so health span is not going to come to us with fortuity or by luck. Okay, we have to earn it. Just like if somebody wants to have a financial independence, financial freedom, they have to work 30-40 years in planning for retirement, for financial freedom. It's a different story that somebody hits a jackpot. Okay, but if you want to see the results, you have to plan ahead and plan for it, and be consistent with it. Okay, same thing with a student who is looking for good grades in the exam. Okay, you have to work hard, you have to study, you have to know the subject matter left and right, to the best of your ability, because you control that thing. you don't control the grade. Okay, same thing, we have to put things in perspective, that what are the main drivers that I control, to have the good quality of life down the line, to have a better health span, and we have to take a step back and act accordingly. So my theory is that I always look for the problem-based learning. So what are the problems we are talking about? Diseases. Okay, how I can mitigate those diseases? What are the things which I can do today, which is in my hand, all right, to mitigate those things to the best of my ability? The rest is in the hand of Almighty, okay, which I don't control. Okay, that's the type of thinking we have to have, in order to mitigate those risks. Okay, at the end of the day, it is our control which we control our destiny. It is in our hands. Okay, because we cannot blame, and there are supportive systems within the society. Healthcare is, I'm not saying that we have to replace the doctors. No, I mean, I see once a year my doctor for my health checkup. I do 30-35 tests in a year, and monitor those, and eat healthy, live a healthy lifestyle to the best of my ability, whatever I control. There are certain things which is beyond my control, which I'm not going to sweat upon that, right? So it's a mindset that we have to train over the time, and I hope that in this group, through this platform, I'm trying to relay this message, because in this channel you will not hear anything from me that take this sweet pill, it's going to clear your arteries. No, this is not my job, and I don't believe that either, because there is no one intervention which can fix your health. Okay, it's a series of steps of interventions which you do, and holistically, when you apply things in your life, it gives you a fruitful result. Okay, so this is my practice, which I've been practicing over the years, and that's what I've been preaching in this channel. Whether you like it or not, it's up to you. Okay, if you like it, then make sure that you share this vlog and these concepts with others, and help others to achieve the same goal as we all are striving for. Okay, because if you like something, as I always say, pay it forward, share with someone. Okay, because this channel is about sharing the knowledge. And hopefully next week I'm going to be sharing something very critical, based on what type of diet we should be eating, based on the 6 EPOE genotypes. Okay, which is on my radar for some time, and I'm going to share with because there is a lot of misconception, and with the keto diet, and carb-based diet, whole food diet, veggie diet, plant-based diet, you name it. So how we can carve our diet system, our diet and lifestyle based on our EPOE genotype, because I am a firm believer of EPOE genotype, because I have experienced it myself. Okay, so I hope to see you next week, and we will look into some of the criterias for those. Okay, until then, bye.